Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Push with Nick and KB. We are back once again to bring you one of our favorite series and one that we've put off for a little too long. But in the recent events that happened at Night of Champions, we want to get another video out here. Obviously, if you are new to the channel or even not that new, this is KP's current favorite wrestler, and that on the men's side is Sami Zayn. So we are going to talk all things Sami Zayn. We are going to put out some ranking top five moments in Sami Zayn's career. It feels wrong to not have done this. So KP, top five ranking of Sami Zayn's career. Are you ready to get into this?
I'm ready to go. This is quite difficult, obviously, being such a passionate Sami Zayn fan, but going through a lot of his career and stuff in sort of like a retrospect seems like a really cool idea, obviously, based on what happened at Night of Champions. So looking forward to getting started and into this one. So shall we get into it then, Nick?
Yeah, let's do it. Top five ranking, I think, of any person's career that's been in the business as long as Sami Zayn has, should prove challenging. But looking forward to hearing your passion kind of come through the mic on this one.
Yeah, it's a long sort of like range of topics to go through here, but we are going to kick things off with one of his earlier moments. And at number five, we've got when Sami Zayn won the NXT Championship. This goes back to NXT R Evolution. Funnily enough, we just literally watched this event like about a week or two ago. We're doing our NXT sort of review series that we've been starting up pretty recently. And yeah, just seeing obviously all of his earlier matches back in NXT, it's quite refreshing actually, because we've obviously known the talent of Sami Zayn for some time, just very, very consistent in the ring. But seeing those like early doors NXT matches, like on the PLE stage, on the regular shows, whatnot, it's really great to just look at the early stages of his career and like in WWE specifically here, because it's a nice little throwback. Obviously, we compare this stage of Sami to what we have nowadays, and obviously it is just quite like noticeably different in certain areas, but also quite similar in other factors. But this was his first massive win, and this was a really, really big moment for him. Victory over Adrian Neville at the event in what was a really solid, great match. So obviously, yeah, this is fresh for both of us, Nick. But in terms of like the moment for Sami Zayn here, winning that NXT title, and looking obviously of what he's done since then, this was pretty much the start of it, wasn't it?
This is an incredible, and it's crazy how the timing has worked out. Where we got to see, him win his first, first championship, and then now his most recent one. It's kind of funny how all that timed out, but yeah, this was a great matchup, and honestly, yeah, I think just a showing of what we were to expect for the upcoming, which almost 12 years, and the time gap between this title and his most recent one. So, yeah, this is an incredible matchup. And, I think just seeing his early stuff at NXT, it's no surprise that he's still around and as prominent as he is. But for whatever reason, his character as the ultimate underdog has kind of played out that way as it took 12 years to do it. But yeah, this was a great matchup.
It really was a great matchup, and this was sort of like the start of like my era of like actually watching Sami Zayn for like the first time, because I got into NXT. I think it was literally just after this event. I think it was probably a good couple of weeks after this. So in terms of one of my first superstars I actually saw on the NXT brand, it happened to be Sami Zayn, the NXT champion at the time. But quickly just sort of being captivated by his general wrestling ability and things like that in the ring. Went back, obviously watched the match previously to sort of like see how this guy won the championship that he currently holds, and yeah, just absolutely loved him ever since. So yeah, the start of obviously his career, and he's done a lot of really big things since then. One of which is probably the culmination. I say culmination, leading to the culmination of probably the best storyline that he's ever been involved with, and that was with the Bloodline. He was known as the honorary Oos. He was sort of, the comedic factor of the group, and it all sort of like turned to a head at the Royal Rumble in 2023. This is when Roman Reigns, the current WWE Undisputed Champion at the time, actually put his title on the line against Sammy's best friend Kevin Owens. Although they weren't best friends at the time, they were very much bitter foes and rivals and enemies and whatever. So yeah, this was quite the interesting situation. But Sammy had been sort of overlooked by Roman in the group for quite some time, and sort of second guessed by him. And it got to a stage where Roman Reigns, after the matchup, was absolutely beating down Kevin Owens with the likes of the Usos and Solo Sikoa sort of like present and getting involved bits and bobs here and there. Roman would pass a chair over to Sami Zayn, saying, "You take over then if you don't want me to carry on," because Sami was sort of like standing up, not so much for Kevin Owens, but just basically showing him a little bit of mercy, essentially. Uh, Everyone had been crying out for Sami Zayn to turn on Roman and to turn face. I guess technically turn face. He kind of was a face within the group. The dynamic was interesting, but officially turning face by obviously turning his back on Roman Reigns. And when past that chair, it looked like he was going to strike Kevin Owens, but he does strike Roman Reigns. And just want to get your thoughts on this one, Nick, because obviously looking back on this one, it wasn't too long ago now. We're talking just over 3 years ago. This is still probably one of my favorite turns in wrestling. Just because of the pop from the crowd, especially the story that went into it was, tremendous. So over such a long period of time, storytelling was perfect. But yeah, how does it sort of like sit with you now? Obviously, looking back on it, does it still have that same sort of like wow factor?
Yeah, I think in a perfect world, I would have went through and been able to have recently bias, kind of play part of this. But the fact that this was 3 years ago, it feels crazy because it feels like this was like last year. But such is life. Yeah, this was an incredible moment, and for me, this was definitely the height of the Bloodline story. Obviously, with the turn, it had to be Sammy. Like Sammy is a comedic talent, is arguably one of the best. Like he plays, unfortunately, he gets hit with a lot of annoying characters, and I think that really affects a lot of people's opinion of him as character work. But the fact that it's annoying, you have to step back for a second and realize, well, that's because he's good at what he does. But yeah, the comedic role that he plays here is the honorary ooze. Um, it's really hilarious, and of course, it also had to play a part with Kevin Owens, and you could probably make a top five of Kevin and Sammy kind of together. But yeah, this was an incredible moment, and just the selling of from the Usos, the selling from Roman, the selling from Sammy and Kevin. This everything about this was incredible, and the fact that this is number four on the top five, I think, is just again a testament to Sami Zayn. And again, I'm not like this video is not for me. This video is for you, and yet I'm sitting here like happy just to see all these moments unroll. So yeah, this was incredible, and it definitely has to be one of the best turns of all time. It helps obviously that the story itself was so prolific in its time, but yeah, this was an incredible moment.
Yeah, you make a lot of really good points there, and it is like really nice to look back on like certain moments from like somebody's career, not even like just Sami Zayn for example, but also like Roman Reigns. Like this is a big part of his career as well. Like obviously this whole storyline, this is where sort of like the cracks seemingly do start to show, and obviously we see the bloodline sort of dissipate, going on from here on. And it's weird we say that because right now, guess what's back and happening again? We're in another bloodline story, so it's all weird how it all swings and roundabouts. But yeah, in terms of this moment, it was extremely difficult to put this as number four because obviously there are some massive moments still to come in Sammy's career that we're yet to discuss. But yeah, he has won some very big championships on the main roster stage, not just NXT. One of which came at WrestleMania 40, and that would be by ending the Intercontinental Championship reign of the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion in history, and that would be Gunther. His reign when going into this WrestleMania was 666 days. So at number three, yeah, we do have Sammy winning the IC title off of Ring General. And going into this match, I do remember thinking about this one. I had absolutely no expectations of Sami Zayn to win. I was pretty confident that Gunther would retain here because 666 is a day. You'd probably want them to, maybe go a little bit more or a little bit less from that. So, the number is associated with a particular devil. So, in terms of that, I did think it wasn't really a good likelihood that Sami was going to win this one, but he did. It was a fantastic match as well. Really, really exceptional stuff from both men, as you probably would have expected, to be fair. But obviously, this sort of like sees the height of Sami being that underdog, really clutching from underneath and getting a big championship win. And obviously, what a monumental one it was. The victory over Gunther and ending his historic reign. So yeah, Nick, what about you though in terms of this matchup, the IC title changing hands from Gunther to Sami? How big of a moment was this? At the time, looking back on it now, and obviously I'm assuming this match does still hold up. We did a WrestleMania series pretty recently, and we both I think rated this one extremely highly. So it is just great work from both men.
Yeah, I do definitely rate the match. I liked it better after the initial shock because I don't know if you recall, but I didn't give Sammy a chance to win this matchup. it just didn't feel like it was the time was right, and it felt like Gunther was had plenty of more gas in the tank, and this was the kind of a shock win, which is very similar to what we saw this last Saturday. Furthering that moniker, the ultimate baby dog, underdog, even when he doesn't feel like. A lot of people argue now that he's overbooked, and we can probably get into that at some point during this video. I don't feel like that's the case. I know you are very privy on the stats on those, and his win percentage, I think, is south of 500. A lot of times he gets that booked to that moniker. So, with that being said, yeah, this was an incredible matchup. I was salty about the finish because obviously I am a huge Gunther fan, but on that second rewatch, I can step back and see the bigger picture and realize this was an incredible match. Obviously, you have two of the best in the business, in my opinion, currently in WWE, and then obviously I think what will solidify this as a moment was what happened after too. Just some incredible matches, but yeah, this was truly historic. Obviously, you're ending the most historic IC reign, and then his follow up to that was pretty incredible as well. So just overall, yet again, the fact that this is number three, I think, is just a testament to the career that Sami has had. But as saltiness aside, this was a great match and an incredible moment.
Well, I'm glad you can put the solidness, at the time, to the side for the time being. Yeah, it was pretty massive, to be fair. In the grand scheme of things, this was huge. So yeah, at the time, I think only really was it two people had beaten Gunter in WWE. That was Ilya Dragunov and Bron Breakker at the time. So yeah, Sami becoming the third person to actually beat Gunter was quite the achievement. So, and it still is now. To be fair, people haven't beat Gunter that often, and it happens quite on a rare occasion. But yeah, I think we can probably still go on two hands for Gunter's losses, which is still pretty impressive. But yeah, this is obviously number three, and number two, we do have another big championship victory. But this time, Sami wasn't alone in achieving this particular goal. This was him and Kevin Owens at WrestleMania 39, when they would actually take on the Usos and defeat them to win their WWE Undisputed Tag Team Championships. And obviously, we've mentioned already at number 4 with Sami turning on Roman Reigns, that whole part of the Bloodline story. This was officially the ending in terms of Sami and Kevin's part of the story. So this was them basically writing off the former champions, or the current champions at the time, I guess you could say, in the Usos. So much history between Sami and Jay, especially Sami and Jimmy, and obviously Kevin Owens being part of that, ever present towards the late stages and being sort of here and there with Roman Reigns for a large part too. Both men were so encapsulated in this whole story for such a long period of time. This match just felt absolutely perfect, and this is probably my favorite Sami Zayn match to date. Obviously, you could argue that the moments are different from the matches, but in terms of the match and just everything that goes into this one, this is my favorite Sami Zayn match. Just not even a debate for me personally. It's just incredible. The whole storytelling, the match itself is quality. It's really, really great, and the moment afterwards is fantastic too. And I know we did watch this back recently, and I think you did sort of say that you forgot how good it really was, and you were sort of refreshed with the sort of the quality throughout this matchup. So Nick, this moment is big, and this is number 2. So yeah, it just encapsulates so much, but it was over such a long period of time. I think being at number 2 is pretty fair.
Yeah, for a payoff that huge, it has to be big. And this obviously the tag team championship match, main eventing a WrestleMania, like that's huge in itself, and rightfully so. It was part of the bloodline, which was a huge story, and so that it was a big shoes to fill, and I feel like it did that. It was incredible. Like it felt bigger than wrestling at that point. Like this storyline has encapsulated so much of our time to see the payoff, and I love that image of Sammy in the top right there. It was just absolutely all right. I 100% know I gave it a 10 out of 10 because it was one of the best main events of all time at WrestleMania. So of course it has to be on this top 5 list. I could see an argument for 3 and 2 because obviously winning the IC title technically should be bigger than the tag title, but the storyline and the moment and all of that behind this, like it felt like it hit every single box. I think this is appropriately ranked as 2 over 3. In that kind of regard. But yeah, incredible moment, incredible match, which seems like probably a broken record at this point, but it is like this truly is top five is incredible and would be probably up there on the list of top five of just any WWE talent because of in terms of like competition because all of these matches and moments are just absolutely next level. So what I'm saying is you picked a great talent to have as your favorite because these are all really great moments.
And it's quite relieving to me, I suppose, I guess you could say, because at the time, like, I didn't really know anything about Sami Zayn, and just seeing him on NXT, it just really just did appeal to me in a way that I was like, right, well, this guy's great. Like, I really like what he does. And he was just a lot of fun to watch in the ring. Obviously, watching his career over the past, 12 years, roughly, give or take, for myself, has been, quite special. And you actually mentioned something that I forgot to say about this one. This literally did end the longest reigning tag team championship reign of all time in the Usos. So yeah, that was obviously something that I forgot to point out there. So thanks for reminding me on that one. But yeah, watching over the past 12 years, there's always been one thing that every superstar in their career always wants to aspire to achieve, and that is to win a world championship. And Sami Zayn was probably described by many as not the guy, or not good enough, or whatever they want to sort of describe it as. But the reality of the situation is this guy is one of the best and consistent performers in ring in wrestling. Like, I don't think that's an exaggeration. Like, people can probably look at me and say, well, he's your favorite, you got bias there. But I don't think I'm out of the realms of possibility, saying that. I don't think it's a really a bad thing to stand on, because this guy is just phenomenal. Everything that he does is fantastic. He's so great in the ring, and he has great matches. He could have a match with a broom, and it would be very, very good. And that's in pretty good territory. We talk about the likes of AJ Styles and people like that also, who are sort of described in a similar manner. And you have to win a world title to be on that sort of pedestal. And this past weekend at Night of Champions, Sami Zayn did finally achieve that. And he didn't just win a world title, he won the undisputed WWE Championship. And he pinned Cody Rhodes to do it as well. So, there's only one way to really sort of like boost yourself up and to be a massive star in the modern day, and that is to get past the Golden Boys, I like to say, and to win his Golden Championship. So yeah, now Sami Zayn obviously has that title. As to how this one's going to play out and stuff, I don't really care. I really, really don't. It's just watching him for 12 years, just to see his progress, to see his hard work, his grit, his sort of career in a retrospect, looking back at it here right now with yourself, Nick, it just puts a smile on my face. It really, really does, because all that hard work has been worth it. And he's proved a lot of doubters wrong. He's obviously seen as quite an important figure in the company, and he's trusted to be a world champion. Whether it's for how long, it doesn't really matter, but he still won it, which puts him in an elite club. He joins the Grand Slam club as well, having won, the IC, US, tag team, and world title at one point. So, you know, just the final sort of like a tick in the box of Sammy's career, and I guess now I can rest easy, and not really just sort of like wanting this to happen anymore, because it's happened, and now I can just enjoy it while it lasts.
Yeah, this entire slide here is quite incredible. The images, you can just see the emotion, which is great. 11 and a half years winning his first NXT title at the end of 2014. Here we are halfway through 2026. Again, time is an SOB. But yeah, 11 and a half years worth of hard work is what you're seeing in front of you. And it's just, this was my jaw was on the floor having Sammy win this, not only with that, pinning Cody Rhodes, that's that's insane. Yeah, my only kind of argument against this moment was I wish he would have actually got like an actual victory as opposed to a roll up. You know what I'm saying there. But WWE loves a roll up and all of that, and you don't want to knock down your golden boy, if you will, too much. So I get what they're doing, but yeah, this was an incredible moment, and as you said, until you win that big championship, a lot of people are going to be, that was the whole thing behind him too. Is like he's great, but that was one of the things. So now I think confidently, the only thing I can really say is I don't love some of the Sami Zayn character work, and I don't really think that's an issue of him. I think that's an issue of the gimmicks that WWE gives him. I think he makes the most of them because, again, if you're annoyed by a character that a guy does, then it's because he's doing it well. So I think with that, still, I would say definitely is his weakest trait as a wrestler. But in terms of in ring performance, like you said, you'll find few that are more consistent than him. So yeah, an incredible moment here. I thought this was going to be reserved for next year's WrestleMania, but here we are. You know, after Night of Champions, your guy did it.
He did do it. And yeah, I also agree with you. I didn't expect this to happen at this event. I really, really didn't. I thought Cody Rhodes just assumingly was going to win because that's just how it tends to work most of the time. I don't think that's a, pretty unreasonable stance to be in. But yeah, in terms of that WrestleMania next year in Saudi, obviously now I've got a lot of questions there as to, is there a actual possibility he could be the champion going into there? Likelihood is probably not, but in terms of, just the moment and what we have here, this can't be taken away. It's happened in the history books. It's out there in the open, and it's just the capsulation of what has been a truly remarkable career. And I say, in my opinion, it's a Hall of Fame career as well. So lots of accolades and accomplishments over the years. And there are even stuff that we haven't even, gone through. We haven't really spoken about the Kevin Owens battles over the years. They've been absolutely incredible. We all know how good those matches have been. His conspiracy theorist era, which was interesting. You've already mentioned the character work. Maybe some hit, maybe some didn't. But, that was one of which that wasn't quite, appreciated by all, I guess you could say. Him being a little bit oozy and, that whole bloodline comedic factor we've already mentioned, but we haven't really gone over it massively. And then obviously quite recently as well, the United States Championship Open Challenges after he was anointed by John Cena to basically continue them and was allowed to, carry on that legacy. So, yeah, there's so many things as well we didn't discuss, but in terms of the highlights, I think we've done a pretty decent job.
Yeah, you could definitely do a top 10 easily. And like I said, I think you could probably do a ranking list of Kevin and Sammy very easily as well. Like this is one of the best current talents in WWE. There's really no arguing against that. His comedic timing is honestly one of the best. The usologist stuff, that was incredible. That was really entertaining. So I just have one more question for you and we'll get this one wrapped up. I believe it's the tag, but I just want confirmation. Is that your favorite Sami Zayn match of all time listed on here? Speaking of rankings, the lowest of these contests are the Intercontinental title, which I would agree I think was the worst of the four. But overall, between these four matches, the average ranking is just under 9. So it truly is incredible. This is according to Cage Match. This is truly a very unique individual and a very one of the best, in my opinion, to ever lace up the boots in WWE in terms of consistent performer in WWE. But yeah, KP, which of these is your favorite?
Yeah, it's got to be the tag match. You've obviously, assumed that it is, and yeah, it's just perfect. So it really, really is. Just the whole story, the whole payoff, everything that went into that match. It wasn't just like a quick thing either. It was a match full of quality, back and forth action. Just general storytelling was fantastic across the board for it. And yeah, there's nothing I can really sort of like criticize for that contest. Like he's had some great matches. Don't get me wrong. The moments are there in their abundance, but that match from start to finish, the importance at the time, it felt absolutely meteoric. So yeah, I can't really sort of like look past that, and for that reason, yeah, for those reasons, that has to be my favorite on this list. What about you, Nick? Go on, let's have your say. What's your favorite match?
Yeah, that was obviously a perfect match. And although also recently gave a perfect rating to Sami Zayn and Adrian Neville in NXT, I have a feeling I'm about to have my eyes opened wide even more so when we continue our NXT project. But a little bit of self promotion there for us. But yeah, just all four of these matches were incredible, and I'm so happy that we got to do this. Obviously, the timing couldn't have worked out better from seeing his first title to now his most recent one. Just truly a special career in WWE. But from us over here at the Push, what is your favorite Sami Zayn moment? We'd love to hear from you in the comments below. And I'm so happy that we were able to do this, if we're being honest, episode for you, KP. This was a great moment and it deserves to be a video here on the Push. And hopefully we get to do these kind of rankings more often. I thought this was a really fun video. But if you like this video, please let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Kind of help us kind of determine which videos you like most. This would obviously be helpful to us as well. But until next time, this has been The Push with Nick and KP. We'll see you soon. Take care.